I do like this music slowly. It kind of it calms me down before the live stream starts. There's always a little element of like, oh my God, we're going live. Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. March 21st. God, like it's been like quite a few hectic days, we had behind us. We were putting finishing touches to our summer semester. And, we really wanted to make it very, very special for you. Yeah, I mean, here we are to present you everything that's coming up in the next 6 months with color training. First, I want to say hi to everybody. Hello, Camilo. Good to see you. Yes, he says music is like a Nordic public, TV channel. Yes, it's a little bit like that. Hey, my God, someone from Sweden, Cleveland, Ohio. Good to see you. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, Portugal, João, and Zambia. Oh my God, in Zagreb. Hello, Bojidar. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, guys. So, yeah, let me just check. Just to check if my audio is, as someone says, yeah, oh, good. So it's the right audio. Yeah. So just put the noise cancellation on, so in case there are some background noises happening. So yeah. So here we go. I want to show you like what we've been up to. We are always listening to your feedback, analyzing how things are going, and we can see benefits of that happening because every semester we just get better and better, like in training just gets even kind of there's always a way how to improve on things, right? And things are always moving for color grading. It's never static. There is always something going on, and we just always want to keep up with it, right? So I really wanted to show you what we're going to do this summer. So basically, the first thing that's going to happen is that our training program is going to go from, from let's 4 months, a little bit what we had in winter, to 6 months, because, we really, need to, that time. What we are going to now do more is that we're going to do post course assessment, so that like what we found is that we do the course, and then I always felt like I didn't have enough time to reconnect to students once the course, we completed the whole curriculum, and just have another session when we can actually talk about it. I started doing it by the end of the winter, like semester, where we were doing office hours, and we're able to discuss and chat about things, and I really like that. I really feel like this is super important, because I think we need to find a way how to kind of get anything that's not quite clear put to bed, and I think this is very, very important. So this is going to be the first thing, so that we kind of extended it now, so it gives us a little bit more time in between the courses, so that we can discuss everything that happened and how it happened. Okay. So the next thing then I want to talk to you about is, that we have now recategorized our courses a little bit. So what we got is we got now like a kind of, 6 categories, so to say. Okay. So first category are free courses, and we have now expanded on those. And we decided, listen, we're just going to keep these courses free. And the reason why we keep them free is because I believe that if you're somebody who's interested in color grading, and but you're just interested, right? You've never done it or anything like that, then I think you shouldn't really have to spend any money, really to learn. And at the same time, I don't think you should be on the mercy of your search engine skills, because a lot of things that you kind of search, that pop up on the top of the searches are not necessarily the best things, right? You have to understand there is people out there who are like very good in beating keywords and search engines, and will kind of deliver some sort of promised content, but actually they sometimes miss the main point. I find it, so a lot of these videos, the fundamentals or something like that, that I see like are okay, but they can mislead you in a way. So I felt like, let's kind of get, so so if you are like, just interested in the, in learning color grading, then take one of these free courses, let's say Color Grading 101 or something like that, and just get in grips with the with major concepts of what and how it works. Like, learn what's exposure, learn what's, density, learn about the contrast, about LUTs, about CDLs. Go and do all of that. And then, if this is still, interesting to you and you feel like, okay, I can manage it, I opened also the software tools, I can do it. Also, I included a DaVinci Resolve 101 course. Now, I taught DaVinci for about, God, man, how many years? More than 10 years, probably. And I was one of the first people in London, actually, who was, doing DaVinci Resolve courses back then. I actually had a student the other day who reminded me, was like called Soho Editors. This before I joined Colorist International, International Colorist Academy. That was the name. So, I was, teaching, Resolve for many years. And I have a really, really good method of teaching it. So if you're like, new to Resolve, hey, there is also a Resolve course. So that way we get all of this technicality out of the way. So yeah, so then we have the next type of courses are fundamentals. And I'm going to explain a little bit what these courses are. So then, this is really the basis upon which we're going to build our training. And then we go into master classes. And really, these master classes is the core. Like, everything you learned up till that moment is to make you better with master classes. And like, if anything, the fact that there was thousands and thousands of people who completed master classes for the past 10 years, let's say, I'm going to say, like, certainly, like, at the beginning, my master classes were maybe more like just the feature commercials, and then they kind of expanded, but basically this is really the core training that helps you transition into professional role, where you really learn how to work professionally. And then, we have seminars, and, I always try to innovate on these seminars, give you stuff that you really ask me how to do it, what to do, and so on. So we got that. And then we finish with the Look Academy. And then we have something completely new, something we didn't have before, but something I got asked a few times, and I realized this is really what you guys need, and it's called projects. But, feel free, by the way, to ask any questions you have on the chat. And basically, I'm going to go now step by step and try to explain to you which one of each one does and what do they do. But if you guys have any question while I'm doing this, please just type in chat. I'm going to be following and hopefully be able to answer. So let's start. So the free courses, as I said, we have a DaVinci 101, like, it's just going to give you like an idea, hey, how to open it, how it works, what to do, and really be able to kind of do all the basic grading with it. If you ever are just wondering, like, how did people learn DaVinci Resolve who have not used it before, even those professional colors, this is how they learned it, by the way. This is the curriculum that is very standard, that was developed, for years, like, and that we know that if we kind of teach in this order, that, things just fall into place really nicely. Then we have a Color Grading 101, which is really like, hey, I've never color graded before. I just really want to understand, what is this, how it works. And it really, explains you the practicality, very simple. I really like this course. It's quick. You finish it in a very short amount of time. Then we have a Look Designer. I use it all the time. You won't be able to do a course at Color Training without a Look Designer being involved in one way or another. You even get a really big discounts on Look Designer, so you can acquire it. You get it for free while you're training as well. And I don't always have time to dwell into every little detail, and it's very sophisticated piece of software. It's a plugin, right? But it's very, very sophisticated. It is really like, what, top 500 of post-production companies are using. And, you should go and look at it. And by the way, these courses, you don't have to like work on them from, first video to last. You can jump around and just sometimes learn stuff that's interesting to you, just something that you need to know in that particular moment. And then we go to Colab AI. This is masterclass. So it's not just a course, it's a masterclass. So everything that Color Lab can do is covered in it, right? Again, take it as a reference training. Like, maybe you don't want to go from top to bottom. Maybe you just want to learn how to do this or that. And you just basically jump on that lesson and you can do it. And you can then later come back to it and learn something new. So on. So it's basically almost like a great way to kind of have a reference to what all of this software does. Okay. Where can we see or subscribe to these courses, says Mohammed? So that's a very good question, Mohammed. Very good. So basically, here you go, Mohammed. This is at color.training. So www.color.training. So it's just been published live now. You're you're the first people actually who are going to get access to it. So feel free. I'm going to explain, how this works, and so you're going to be able to decide whether you want to just buy a course or you want to get like a whole package, right? So yeah, so these are the free courses. Super. If you're kind of just starting up, I really like it. And even if you're already grading, just get one of those courses so you always have access to the references. Then we go into fundamentals, and here comes our first new course. Okay, it's a fundamentals course. Even though, like, a few years ago, I would have said, no, this is very special. But actually, I think that this is really foundation upon which you want to start building from. And it's called Cinematic Color Grading. It's a brand new course that I designed based on a lot of conversations I have with people who are not familiar with the way how film worked. Or it still works, by the way. I don't think we should talk in past tense about the film. Many of you who have completed Look Academy with me and who have done training with me in the past, you understand the philosophy that I use, and I always say, instead of us starting from zero, right, what we do is we build our knowledge on top of the 70 years of experience that we have with film. And one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about film is that they think the reason why film looks the way it looks is because of the medium. It's because of the actual film. Almost as if film kind of randomly started looking the way it does, and then we kind of accepted it and we started, using it. And that's absolutely not true. Right? You have to understand that there was some of the smartest people on the planet have worked for decades in making film look the way it does. This is not an accident. It is really intended to look that way. This is not necessary that medium naturally looks like this. No, it was made to look like this. Okay. And why is this really important is because today when we work with digital cameras, we're not really emulating film. We are making it look in that particular way. And the reason why we like that way is because a lot of psychologists and researchers have figured that our perception works in such a way that when movies have those elements that we see in film, we perceive them as better looking. As simple as that. There is a certain aesthetic that perceptually we like, right? And it's nothing to do with our, age, with, our education, our geographical location. This is purely to do with the perception and limitations of the mediums that we use in order to, distribute motion picture. Right? So the art form itself has got its visual language that people adhere to. It's almost like, we developed a language. And this is in film. It's in there. And the medium of film is giving you those tools. So I think it is very important for all of you to really understand it and so really be able to learn what it's about. And we're starting with this course already next week. And what you're going to learn is you're going to learn first, how film works and what are the elements of that look, like, because there are certain, like a physical aspects of that look. Then we're going to see how we emulate each one of those elements, right? You don't really like create cinematic look, just by slapping a lot on top of it to say, oh, wow, I have a look. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to control elements separately and adapt them to your source material. So if you ever try to make a great film LUT or whatever, and it just didn't look right, well, because you don't have those elements separately that you need to control and adapt them to whatever you're grading with. So we're going to learn that, then we're going to learn how to do digital emulations, and then we're going to build some really looks. And this is probably going to be the end of you using stock LUTs, right? You won't be using them after that. This is really how it's going to work. So then let me see some questions here. Would you at some point also be offering training in other grading systems like Baselight? No, I won't, because when you buy a Baselight, Julian, you pay a significant amount of money for that. And the reason why you do it is because Baselight gives you white glove service, and they will teach you how to use Baselight, right? So you will, now certainly they won't teach you how to be a colorist, but they will teach you how to operate Baselight. And it's a closed environment. It's not that, some third-party company can go and just start teaching Baselight. It doesn't work like that. They do all of the training. They control it. It's their product. And so this is why you don't see anybody teach Baselight, or sometimes there is like an odd course or something like that, but very, very little, very, very little. Okay, so that's very, very important to understand. Okay, so next one we have color grading in theory and practice. If you are really new to color grading, this is really course that you have to know. I mean, without it, really, it's impossible to build the knowledge. So let's say for example, you want to learn how to drive a car, right? And I don't know, most of you probably had an experience where your parent, your uncle, or somebody like that has sat you in a car for the first time on some big car park and, got you to press the gas pedal, put it in a gear, and the car started moving, and you felt that excitement of driving a car, right? And I think this is how most people discover color grading. They open software, they click on something, suddenly it changes, and they really enjoy it, right? But in order for you to obtain a driving license, the first thing you have to do is you have to go and do a theory test, right? You have to learn the fundamentals. and with color grading is the same, is exactly the same. Before you actually start learning, oh, what should I do? Where should I click? Learn the fundamentals first. Understand what's happening. There is a certain order of processing. Why? What is log? What's this? What's that? There is a lot of that you need to really understand and know. And then your knowledge is just going to be so easy and flowing. When you start learning, a lot of these things that maybe have been stopping you from progressing are going to be so much easier. So don't really try to be colorist just suddenly just by trying to do practical stuff. It will come. It will come. Do spend a little time learning the fundamentals, the theoretical part, before you move onto the practical. Okay, and then we have a fundamental digital color processing. This is really the hard to find information about image processing. There is no really degree today that you can take and learn about this type of processing, because this is developing so quickly. I don't think they managed to write the book before things have changed already. In any case, this is really collated information that is evergreen. Like you can always learn about it, how the logarithmic curves work, what's gamma, what's PQ, what's color spaces, how the perception works, how the HDR works, and so on and so on and so on. You even get to do like a two DaVinci courses, 101 and 201, with practical exercises and tests and so on. I used to demand that, companies that would train with me would all have to complete the fundamentals of digital color processing before they can actually start learning, because, it's very difficult for me to teach somebody color grading and they didn't understand what's log, right? So this is really one of the reasons why, this course is there. Okay. Tunde asked a question. Hey, are we going to have access to the training materials if we can't make it live? Absolutely good question. Yes. So everything is, live and recorded, right? And the only disadvantage for you is that you won't be able to ask question in real time if you're not live. But you can always go and ask question on Discord and we reply to you. Okay, so it's not and we have a lot of students, that are doing this and that are really learning, They maybe catch one live class, maybe second one they can't because of work and so on and so on. But it is you will not miss anything, so to say, if you're not able to tune in at exactly the time when the class is happening. Okay, this is very, very, very normal procedure for us. We worked like this for years already, and this is going to be absolutely fine for you, Tunde. Okay, very good. Hey, Tim, good to see you. All right, then we're going to move on to master classes. Now, look, master classes is really core of this training. They are the places where you turn from a hobby guy or girl who likes to just color grade into somebody who can do it professionally. When you complete masterclass, you can walk into post-production company, sit on that, like a desk, and be able to do the job. Basically, if you never worked in a professional environment, if you never, worked and was hired as a professional colorist, the feature film, commercials, HDR, and look design classes are aimed to teach you how to do that. In the past, you would start as an assistant, and then you would have a senior colorist teach you exactly what's in these master classes. And it would take a few years for you to do it because you would have to do all the other assisting stuff in addition to constantly being trained by a senior. We don't do this anymore. We don't do this anymore simply because, first, we can't afford for senior colorists to, spend time with juniors, like this is, their time is valuable. They're all double booked. They don't have time to, invest into the future generations. This is really, really challenging. And the next thing, there is actually more people, who need to learn color grading than there are senior colorists that can dedicate their time. You understand? The demand for color grading is growing at such a rate that the one-to-one training method we used in the past is just simply not working, because there is many, many more people for whom is necessary to learn color grading. Now, look, a lot of people, start color grading because they like it, but actually the biggest portion of people who decide to learn color grading do it because they have to. They just cannot do their job. They cannot be filmmaker, editor, cinematographer, whatever it is that they do without knowledge of color grading, right? And there is many people who we need to hire as a professional colorist in order to be able to commit to the, like a production schedules that we have right now. So this is really like the way how today we are training color grading. We are basically developed these master classes that then help you teach you, like, okay, when you work on film, this is how it's done. When you work on commercials, this is how it's done. And it's not just basic knowledge. This is very, very high-end specific workflows. In commercials, you learn the retouching. In feature, you learn all the fixed node color management. In HDR, you learn everything. Dolby Vision, delivery to Netflix. In look design, you learn how to make a shot deck that would, that you can put in front of Ridley Scott, basically, right? This is like, that level of delivery. It makes you much, much more competitive. Okay. So then we have seminars, right? So what are the seminars? So let's see. Hey, do you know which of your courses will best prepare you to pass DaVinci Resolve Colorist certification test? Right. And Steve, I'm curious, why do you need that colorist certification test? So in any case, like, but I can answer you the question. So what you should do is you should do the fundamentals, of digital color processing, because you have DaVinci 101 and 201 in that course that teaches you everything about, DaVinci that you need to know, and also teaches you all the technicality. And then potentially you take one masterclass, like feature masterclass or commercials masterclass, because they really teach you, like, the actual aspect of work and practical. And there is hardly anything, that you actually you will learn much more than what you need for a certification test. But there is really hardly nothing that we don't maybe cover to what, the colorist certification test does. I'm not sure whether they want you to know about audio and they want you to know about edit panel. This is not what we teach here. And I hope that they were smart enough to understand that colorists don't necessarily need to be certified for editorial part. But yeah, so that would be like a really good, but Steve, the level of training here is much higher than that kind of entry certification. This is This is really like, Angie certification just maybe like, gets you through the door, but you're still not really capable to do the actual work, right? Here, you learn how to do the work, right? Yeah. Hey, Janos. Oh my God, Janos is here. Excellent, excellent. Then Vaya says, I'm assuming will be a lifetime access to the courses. And yes, correct. So those Vasya, those courses never expire. When you do them, you always log into your account and they will be into your library. So you can always go back. And now we can't at the moment download courses. It's just because there are, like a streaming provider doesn't really allow us to do so. So you will have to be online. This is the only limitation. They're not downloadable. Yes, they're not downloadable. Okay, good. Let's go now. So seminars. Okay. Now, what happens is this. So now you completed the master classes, you did all of this training, you're quite good, but there are certain elements of color grading where you need to specialize more. And it's like almost like, think about it, you just go in a very particular direction, you go deep into that direction. You really try to master. It's almost like a different subjects, right? It's a different kind of, aspects of the job, because the job is very varied. There is so many different aspects to color grading. It's like, there is so many different things that you need to know, right? So you have a very broad knowledge kind of at the beginning with foundation, then we specialize a little bit, and then we go really to the kind of highly specialized in seminars. And you love this style of training. You told us that it's one day, it's very fast, you can rewatch it, and you basically get a very condensed information to what you need to know. Okay, so it's like a bam, bam, bam. Okay, let's go. And then you can also follow up. You have like PDF that you can get and see how to do it for yourself and so on. So this is what we prepared for this season, and they are always new. This is what we prepared for this season. Okay, so first we have advanced AI for color. So you probably saw me last week. I did I showed how ChatGPT works, right? And then straight away you told me, oh, Dado, I tried, it didn't work. I tried this, it didn't. How? So actually, I try to kind of, help with some prompts, and I will continue doing that. I will access it. But what I thought is best thing to do is for me to do a training where I'm going to tell you, okay, look, let's download this piece of software. This is how you install Python. This is what the correct structure is for these ETLs. This is how you find out when it doesn't work, what it doesn't work. This is what you need to do. This is how you prep your ChatGPT to give you the right answers. And then we're not going to just do that theoretically. Practically, we're going to go and build stuff, right? We're going to go and say, okay, let's try to do this. Let's try to do that. Let's maybe like some really cool stuff, really that's possible to do. So you are then, going to be equipped to know, now I know, what I need to do in order to get my custom DCTLs working, for example, or to build my technical lots and profiles and so on. Okay. Then we're bringing Adobe in. Amazing, right? And I'm actually so happy that we got so far that we can bring Adobe, that Adobe is our part of the kind of high-end color process. It's insane. Listen, Adobe Premiere is the largest, editing software on the planet. There are so many, things, and up to now, it didn't have an amazing color. It had some color, but it didn't really have a lot. But now with our tools, it's just become such an amazing tool. And you can do such an amazing stuff with it. And, and a lot of times where you just had to pass it on, export, put it in DaVinci, whatever, you don't have to do. You can actually do a lot of things in Adobe. And if you're a colorist and you have working with editors that are, going to be sending you the stuff, you can actually help them already at the beginning and say to them, listen, let me actually set the project for you so that you get all the color in your project. So when it comes to me, I can start working non-destructively from there. And it saves you tons of time. Everybody loves it. I mean, I have not seen, look, this is an area that is for us is growing the fastest rate. When Adobe people are discovering, what color management could do, and they're basically going to do it. So it's a really, really interesting one. We're going to have a seminar which is called Mastering ACES Going Beyond Basics. Okay, ACES is great. I've had some classes about ACES, this and that. But what happens when things don't work. And sometimes you have to have professional workflows. Things get complicated, right? I'm going into linear. I'm coming back here. My client wants this, da da da. I can't get this look. I need to translate this look. I need to move this camera. I don't have IDT. How am I building IDT? How am I translating? What's the right way to go linear CCT? Da 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 da. There is all sorts of things and problems that I get asked to fix for companies all the time. And now I think it's time for you guys to know how to fix it yourself. So I basically really I want to kind of give you like almost like my kind of black book of fixes. It's like this is what when you need to do this with ACES, this is how you do it. So it's a really really useful course. Really useful course. If you're really anticipating that you're going to work in ACES on ACES project and environment, well, sometimes unpredicted things will happen, right? Okay. And then we have a beauty and skin retouching. You know what? It's never enough beauty skills, right? Everybody wants to look good on camera. I mean, everybody, right? And, making people look good is so important, right? It's a part of your job. And if you didn't do commercials masterclass, and even if you did, this is just a kind of an extension of that where we just really focus purely on skin and tools and retouching and what levels and how and so on. This is really really beautiful seminar for many people who kind of just don't want to do the whole masterclass. For example, they want to just learn exactly that particular skill, or even if they did it but they need a reminder because things have moved on, right? We have now new tools, we have a little bit more AI that can help us with that. So I think this is really important. So these seminars are really a gold dust, where you're keeping up to date with what's happening in the industry. Okay, the foundations of color grading has expired. Sam, if you have anything that has expired, anything like that, just give us give us a email, or ping us on Discord, and we'll enable it for you. Sometimes what our system does, it needs sometimes a refresh. Sometimes your courses might kind of not play, and then sometimes we just have to like update the database. Sometimes things happen like that, but if you ever have a course and you can't get access to it, always let us know. Marcella makes a little adjustment on the actual database, and then you can start getting access to it. David says, will beauty and skills rating somehow hit on anything different than the commercials? I'm seeing beauty work is a significant portion of the later as well. David, if you are going to do this current commercials masterclass, then yes, we will cover majority of that stuff in commercials masterclass. There will be some more kind of practical things, in beauty and skin retouching, because we're just going to be like going more, streamlined. But otherwise, no. I think if you do the current version where we updated the tools and everything, you're going to be absolutely fine. Joao says you have versions in the perfect. Okay, very good. Excellent. So this is when it comes to seminars. Okay, the next thing then is we have those special courses. There's two special courses. One's called the Summer Look Academy that you have to apply to, and we are selecting people for that. It's the most prestigious course. It's a course that, it's not just teaching you how to do color, but it's also like allowing you to get exposure, amongst, future employees and clients and so on. We'll run a little competition. It's the place where you really connect with Hollywood top professionals, where they teach as well. So it's a definitely like the highlight of the whole thing, and it's necessary for us really to make sure that everybody who's attending is actually getting the full benefit of it, which is why we are always making sure that all of this process is correctly done. And then we have a SEMPTY color manage workflow. So we worked really hard to like make a course that is like a industry certified. SEMPTY is a body that governs this industry, and we have created a certification course by SEMPTY for color management. So there is no higher level of recognition of your knowledge and your skill than that. There is no other institution on the planet that can vouch for your knowledge better than SEMPTE. This is really, really, hardcore course. It's 5 weeks intensive, tests every week, test at the end, so practical assignments, and you will be working in a group of people who all work for major media companies, right? We always have on SEMPTE people who work for Warner Brothers, for Disney, for Netflix, for Amazon. This is where they send their staff to train, okay? Because they want them to learn the standard. They want them to know what industry recommends, the way how we should work. Okay, so it's a really, really important course. We will publish the more details about it, but these are like two courses that I really recommend if you like, for those who are already in the business and they really want to just get to the top. They want to be able to get a pay rise from their employers because they're just so much better, or just really be able to do their job so much better. I mean, the feedback I get from people like like people who are just the manager sometimes of this course and go like, oh my god, I can do now stuff, I understand what's happening, and so on and so on. It's really, 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 really good course, and it took us very, very long time to do this. Okay, now we come to something completely new. We never had this before, and this was something that many of you asked me. You said to me, look, Dado, I've just finished these master classes, and but what can I do next? What is there for me now? How can I improve further? And the reality is this: you cannot improve unless you do the work. There is no way you are going to improve by learning more courses, by watching more videos, reading more blog posts, whatever you think it is. The only way you're going to progress is by doing the actual work. And these are the projects. Okay, so it's very interesting. You download the media, your project media, and you download it exactly how you would get it from a client. If I was to hire you to do the job, you would get the project in exactly that format. And then you watch me do the job. I am basically colorist doing it. And I'm doing it, the way how I understand needs to be done from my, 20 years of experience, right? And how I also know people would expect to be done, how other professionals colorists are doing it. Okay, so you're gonna start comparing the way how you do it to how I do it. Then you're going to be able to start following along, right? Timing also your work, seeing how long it takes you to do stuff, and also comparing if you're getting the same results than what I'm getting. So basically, it's like a follow along real course, right? Where you basically are literally opening timeline. So the first one is a feature film. We have several scenes from a feature, and that's really how features are graded on scene by scene basis, right? Where we're just going to go and do the whole, scenes, grade them, make looks, make show, let's blah, 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 windows, passes, reviews. Okay, next. So basically, it's literally like, you are practically grading a film. You are having a practical experience of that. And that is, really like, what I think it's super important. Like sometimes, let's say you're like, could be in a sport, and then there is like, some sort of, let's say you're into running, and then in your town there is a 5K race in a few weeks time, and you feel like, what, I want to do this 5K race just to challenge myself, just to see, whether I'm good enough. And this is really, we call them actually challenges, right? They're not like kind of just a project that you do. No, you are challenging yourself. You are now testing yourself. You're seeing if your skill is really good enough. And you know what? If it is, if you complete that 5K race with a good time and you felt good, it gives you huge confidence boost. And that's really what client wants. Client want to sit and work with a colorist who feels very confident in their skill and they know what they're doing. They believe in themselves, right? And that's what they want, is because they're giving you their baby, right? They're giving you their project, and they trust you. And if you're like a scared, imagine if you're a surgeon and your hand is shaking. Wow, you wouldn't necessarily trust it. But so the way even how a surgeon becomes a surgeon is to first do it while senior surgeon is watching doing it. You have to do it. You have to do it. So this is our first challenge. It's feature film. We're going to keep adding more of them. And, this is really the way, that what we were missing, so to say. We had a great course, but we kind of then let you go and hope for you that you're going to get jobs. But if you don't want to wait for that next job to come to you, come to us. We'll have these projects for you where you're going to be able to challenge yourself and you're going to be able to learn and progress from that. Okay. Let me see some questions. Does the summer class also include access to Colab AI for those classes? Yes. So when you join, you'll get codes that allow you to download all the software. So Color Lab Studio, basically, which includes Color Lab AI software, plugins for DaVinci, plugins for Premiere for Windows, Mac, and GrainLab plugins for Windows and Mac for DaVinci. They're all included as a part of the training program. Okay. And then if you decide, when you finish a course, you decide you want to buy it, you get a big discount on those courses as well. So, sorry, on the software as well. The SEMTI course is amazing, says Steve. Thank you, Steve. I have another question, Dado. Please, when I push to resolve, some looks generate like a circle lines, a low quality or something. Do you know? I would have to see this, Mohammed. Why don't you do a screenshot and send it to our help email, and then I'll have a look at it. It's a little bit hard to kind of, just from hearing, but I could definitely be able to look into it and see what might be happening. Okay. I think I might, but once I see the example, I will be able to tell you much better. I'm coloring a TV series now, and I'll be very happy to solve these and keep the looks. Very good. Very good. That's very good to hear. Very good to hear. Excellent. Okay, cool. All right. So want to also let you know, this is by far the best way how to get access to these courses. I mean, you listen, you can totally go and just buy one course and do it. And and this is how the courses are created. You can take any course you want completely separately, but we deliberately give you a choice to take the whole, everything I just mentioned, all seminars, all foundation courses, all master classes, and the Look Academy. SEMTI is not part of this, and the Look Academy. You get all of them, all of these courses for 3 payments of $250, and basically you're good for 6 months. And even after those 6 months, you still have access to those courses. So this is by far the most, economical and best way to get, covered and get all this knowledge. And once you accomplish this, you will see what happens. I mean, I have several examples of students who are, basically, I just before, when I was compiling, this list of the students that trained with us, they do some of the best TV and films at the moment. They work on James Bond. I mean, they work on top Netflix shows, on top Amazon shows. They are really, really, people who are working on, who are creating this stuff, right? And even colorists, right, who've been in the business for decades, right? They come. So let's say, that you all know Darren Moisten. He takes my courses. And Darren's been grading for God knows how many years. Why? Because he always wants to learn more. I have colorists who, started grading before I did. They're much senior than I am, who come and take my courses because they want to learn stuff that I know and they don't, right? So, this is really almost I would say your responsibility as a professional, that you keep developing yourself. And and consistency pays off, because when you're a training over a longer period of time, right, you really build up your skill in much better, much more efficient way than when you just kind of do a little course 1 week and then you forget about it, right? It's really, really different, right? And I have several of examples of people who have progressed from 0 to working like a pro in the period of 1 semester, right? And it's just a testament, that it's possible. If you really want it, if you're interested, if you're excited and you want to learn, it's possible to learn. Now you have means to do it. And this is actually, this price is less than what one masterclass used to cost. We used to charge for one 3-day course more than this, double this amount. $1,500 you'd have to pay in order to do one masterclass with me that lasts 3 days in a classroom. this is this is how crazy it is. But back then I had maybe 10 people, maybe 20 people max, right? And then but today we have much bigger outreach, so which is why it's so much beneficial for all of you. And this scale kind of allows you really to get access to this training at much better rate, right? So let me see now, basically a couple more questions. Our email is help@colorlab.ai. That's Mohammed wants an email. Piyush is asking, when is this starting? It's starting next week. Yeah, it's starting next week. So we are basically, starting next week with the cinematic look. That's the first one. And then it finishes, like beginning of August with the Look Academy. Yeah, so it's basically like, one course, after another with seminars in between. You can go to our homepage, color.training, right? And you can basically, see the schedule, just to scroll a little bit down and you'll see everything like that. And just to let you know, this week, all seminars are $49. So if you're like just a seasoned colorist and you don't really want to take the whole training, or you're trained already, no problem, you can just go and take, just the seminars. We discounted them this week down from $89 to $49. And if you're just starting up, you can grab these fundamental courses, instead of $289 to $199. So we're running a promotion this week, so you can please feel free to take advantage of that. This is really like, when we feel like, we're doing something, really, really interesting, we like, to you guys to get excited as well with us. Excellent. Pierce will join. Tim says, level is high, but that's why we're here. What about to get feedback on what could be done better? Yes, this is exactly, Tim, what I said. I want to have more time after the course to give you that feedback. I felt like that what we had is I finished the course and we're already in the next course and we didn't have enough time to reflect and see everything. And by the way, we changed now the thing, last season, what we did is we were just pushing assignments into our learning system. We're changing that. We're going back to Discord. I really love when we are all sharing our assignments in the channel and we are viewing them in the channel. And, so that way you're getting feedback, not just from me, but from everybody else. And so we're going back to Discord reviews. So this is going to be happening again. I found it that, that was more interactive. Once I did kind of the Look Academy and I realized, because in Look Academy, we always do it. And I was like, oh my God, this is so much better, right? Actually, than just me looking at it. So I missed that. I missed that interaction that you guys have when you're posting your assignments. So we're going to do that. And yes, we're going to have now time before the next course start, in between the courses, where we can revise everything we learned and get some feedback. Could you repeat the email? So okay, so Piyush, the email is for Mohammed. Just he has some problems with some looks, he was looking for. So this is what he asked for, and it was help@colorlab.ai. So, but this is not for the color training. If you want to have anything on color training, you can just email admin@color training, for example. This is our email that we are using for general inquiries, right? But also what is very good is just to kind of like drop us a line there, and somebody, myself or Marcello, will respond to you. Bojdar says, thank you, Dado. I took the Winter 22 master with the courses, so I'm in color science heaven. It's like when I discovered Goethe. Very good, Bojdar. So good to see that. So good to see that. I always log with my Google and color training website, but it's not working anymore. No, Vasya, it's working actually. Like, we changed it now. You have to click. There is a little link underneath, and then it will pop up a window that will then allow you to log in. So the buttons are not visible. You have to click underneath the login. You have to click on this option, and then it will come up. So please try again. Like, I can show you later on the website where it is. We just changed a little bit just the way, so they are not always there visible login. You have to first click to enable it. It's just something that we had to do for security. Is there a discount for previous students? Yes, Stefan, there is. We're going to send an email to previous students with the codes for the discount. So you're going to get it. So, we've sent it to those who were part of the whole, winter semester first, and then we're sending a discount later on today for previous students for these courses. Tim, that brings back, thanks, Dado. Oh, good, very good, very good. You did not, but you find it, but not log it in. Okay. Vasya, we will look into this. I actually tried it myself. Let me just quickly check here if I can just see how it works, because I'm normally always I have to be on incognito because I'm normally logged into the site. 1 second. I'm just going to try to see whether there is a problem or not, because it was all working last time we checked. 1 second. Login. Okay, cool. So look, I'll show you now. Let me just quickly share my desktop so that you can see. Share the desktop, and then 1 second, 1 second. What is this one? Okay, I hope this one. No, this is the wrong one. Like I say, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. I need to see. Okay, I think I have to do the whole window. So, okay, found it. This one. Okay, so what you want to do, have a look. You want to go here. Okay, 1 second. No, that's not the one. I have too many windows open. Login color training. There we go. Okay, what you do is this. Look, here it says login with paste. Click here to login. And you click on that, and then it opens you these windows. When you open these windows, you then sign in. Yeah. So that's basically how it works. So I tried it earlier, and it definitely worked. So hopefully it was going to work for you as well. Excellent, divers in. Excellent, Peter. Thank you. Good, always good to see you. Yes, Jason, just wait for us as as we kind of we're just going through like a last bits and pieces. We're finishing for the whole course. And then you guys who have trained with us, you're all gonna get an email specifically for you with the codes. Okay, what's your prediction on the future of AI for post-production? Do you think the role of assistant editor and online editor could become fully AI? Yes. Look, I think so. Yeah, it's absolutely no doubt about it. It's no doubt about it that actually, we are going to use AI more and more. I actually predict that, like opening a project, assigning IDTs, applying a first look based on some sort of references you predefined are all going to be automated, and it will take not more than 20, 30 seconds for a whole feature film. So let's say if you have a 90 minutes feature and you want to start grading it, it will take about 20 to 30 seconds for you to get it from completely ungraded to a very good first light, where you basically then start maybe making some adjustments, making things and so on. But as AI gets better, you will be doing less and less and less of that editing. It's as better we predict to what you like, the better the grades are going to become. And that's a really big thing that we're doing at the moment is we are moving like, what AI for color at the moment is something we call unsupervised. Unsupervised mean that it's just, analyzing image and it's not really understanding your input very well, right? And now we're moving to semi-supervised. thanks to technologies like large language models and GPT, where you basically put your input, and that input is then taken by the engine and is used to give you the better prediction. So that's a big, big, big improvement, right? Because so far we had to go and train a new model to work like you want it to work. Now, just from a single image, we're going to be able to get better predictions. And so, yeah, so I actually think, this is going to happen probably even, I would imagine, before the end of the year, maybe early next year latest. You'll have a systems where basically you will be able to just open any timeline, and all of that kind of tedious IDT assigning, matching, balancing, applying a look, it's all going to be happening. You won't even know it happened. It will be part of you opening the project. Basically, that's how things are going to work. 100%. Yes. So okay, now look, probably in the high end, things will not stop just on color. You have to understand that the more and better we get in AI image processing, the more we're going to start using it in high-end finishing. So you're going to start seeing that color grading artists who work on high-end productions will start using tools that have never been able to do before, tools that can regenerate frames, regenerate shots, even change angles, relight, do a lot of stuff, dream new sequences if necessary. And we're going to start seeing that happen more and more on the high end. This is not going to go so fast to everybody. So we are already have very interesting experimental tools that we can say, oh my god, this is just going to be so fantastic, for colorists, to start using that. So there's going to be a lot of work for high end, where we're going to be able to do more than just color, I call it, right? More style transfer, style grading, right? And then I would say, like on a kind of mass production end, you have to output 20 whatever, stories for Instagram, and cut some documentaries, preachers, blah blah blah. And there is so much of that work. I mean, whole marketing strategies of every single company is based around that content. I mean, just ask yourself, what do companies do today to advertise? Is they produce content, right? And that content right now is produced very click manually, right? All of that is just going to happen very, very automatically, that I would imagine that some people won't even know that it's happening. All of that color grading, matching shots, applying looks, and this and that won't even be a question to you. You will get so used to the fact that this has all happened automatically that you will very quickly forget the days when you had to go and do it manually. And for some people, this is going to be all they need. That's all they need. They don't really want to win an award, an Oscar for best color grading. So you see, this is the two impacts we're going to see. Like on a kind of more mass production level, we're going to see huge amount of acceleration in processing. And on a high-end level, we're going to see new tools that will completely reimagine the looks and what camera captured and so on. So I actually kind of always used to say that I believe that you're going to have a footage, and footage is going to be almost like a draft. What your camera captured could be just an outline. You're going to be able to replace characters and stuff like this. It's crazy what's happening, right? Now that is going to take a little time, because this is an area that is still very experimental. But it is, the speed of development of AI is unpredictable. We have not had anything like this so far. You guys have to understand that we had the 3 waves of technological development happening in recent decades, right? First, we had a CPU speed development, right? So there was a more slow, like it says, okay, like every I don't know how many years a speed doubles, right? Or something like that, right? The CPU processing kind of doubled. And that kind of worked until we said, oh, well, we can't physically make processor run any faster. And then Apple comes and says, oh, we're going to do our own silicon. You'll see how better it is. And they did it, right? Then we had the speed of internet. I mean, it's not that long ago that you had to go and unplug your phone and plug a modem into your telephone line and dial into CompuServe to check your emails, right? and your friends would try to call you and you were busy, like, man, with whom are you talking so long? You're so busy. No, man, I was on the internet. It's not that long. I remember I had to meet with someone secretly back then in Munich in English Garden with the guy who had 9,600, kilobits or kilobytes per second modem, right? It's not that long ago, right? Today with the speeds are just gigabytes, right? So that was another development that went so fast that internet speeds just went so quickly. But we kind of reached a limit now. There isn't, it's physically the lines are not there yet, right? But what happened with AI is that, like, look, we had a company like OpenAI that went from 0 to 100 million in 30 days. I mean, what company in the world has grown from 0 users to 100 million in a month? That is crazy. And that's the speed of the development we see right now. Okay? And the crazy thing about it is this: all of your data, all of your typing in ChatGPT is really used for training. The engine is getting better the more we use it. And that's the craziest thing about it. So the millions of people using it, and that all accelerates the development. So when you ask me, can you predict it? I was like, you know what? I was going to, but I'm just so amazed, how exponentially things develop, because the more we train, the better it gets. It's really, really interesting. It's really interesting. Luke says it's almost like AI will do all of the editorial work and the human. Yes, look, human still needs to sit down, come up with idea, do all the work. But you're right, a lot of the stuff we were doing very manually, clickably, it's not. Look, what we did, Luke, is this. I took I recorded the screen for 8 hours of me grading a commercial. I took a commercial, a real job. A client asked me, could you please, grade this for me? It was for to promote, a bike company. It was mix of different cameras, GoPros, Anyway, right? And I said, okay, I'm going to just for fun do a recording of the whole session. And then I went back and I put marker. Every time I was just copying and pasting stuff, right? Every time I was adjusting IDTs, every time I was, matching things manually left, right, comparing, doing that, all of that. And I put markers. Okay. 40% of my time goes on that stupid stuff, right? Which is just copy, pasting, adjusting, readjusting, moving, adjusted this clip, now I have to adjust it, stuff that is very manual labor that doesn't really need me to do it. 40%, right? So 60% is still your work. You need to still work, right? So even with the best AI, we're never going to be able to replace, what we're really doing, right? That's never going to go away. Okay. Is there a color training summer discount for ColorBab Pro Studio owners as well? I'm going to send an email to you guys as well. Yes, there is something's coming for you, so there's an email coming for Colab AI users as well. Excellent. Dado, yes, I sent you email with the problem, waiting for the feedback. No problem. This is Marcella's probably already looking into it. Off topic, have been using my M2 yet? So, actually, we had one, and we decided to send it back and get the one with more memory, more RAM, or whatever, this kind of the CPU memory. Yeah. So we had one, but I found it or we found it that if you have more applications open, let's say, I'm working DaVinci, Premiere, Colab, and I want to switch between them, that we saw in a performance issues. So and it was just a stock, simplest, lowest priced M2, and then we decided, no, let's go for higher memory. So we're waiting for that new high memory one to come, and then we're going to continue testing. Yeah, but the stock standard, I felt like, processor probably can do a lot, but because it didn't have so much memory, right, it was really not really performing its best. So that was, exactly what I found. When is Windows coming? We're gonna we'll show something next month. privately. And we're, if everything goes according to the plan, have it ready, guys. So you that's all I can say. Joe said, any chance of having an option on buying a set of courses at a discount? I have 10 and I wanted to choose ones I don't have and would like to have. Oh, that's a very interesting idea, Joao. So what we do, Joao, is because you're already a customer, you'll get a discount and you can go and buy these courses at a discount, right? And so it's almost like a set, but if you combine them together, each one of those is going to be discounted. So you'll get an email. I just can't do it on a YouTube because if somebody gets your code, anybody can use it. So you have to understand, we have to send you and so verify that you're a customer. Okay, so if you guys, okay, now look, Joao, we have ability for you to upgrade to a pass, right? So if you ever find yourself that you took a course and you go like, my God, I really like this. Can I upgrade to a pass? Yes, you can. We have an upgrade option. So let's say you put a masterclass and you thought this is all I ever want to do. But once you finished it, you go like, maybe I want to do this. Let us know. We'll let you just move and not just pay the difference and be able to go and buy yourself a upgrade to masterclass. If you have a situation like that, you have to just let us know. Can you share proper link for the schedule of for the summer pass? Yes, so you just go to the homepage, guys. Just go to https color.training and just scroll down a little bit, like just scroll to the bottom. Let me actually just show you this. I wanna just maybe quickly share with you if you want. Incognito tab and color dot training. I'm just gonna quickly load it. And okay, here. So let me go and share my screen again. Okay, I want a window, and this is my window I want to share. Okay, so you see this, this is just a home page, right? So if you are just on that home page, summer semester, there we go. If you're just on that home page, just once you go through the categories here at the top, right? You go down, just wait a moment before this loads because it's a lazy load. And then here you have all the schedules. So here you see like March 28th is the cinematic color grading, right? Then April 3rd is a color grading in theory and practice. Then April 10 is the fundamentals of color processing. Then April 19 is a commercials masterclass. Then May 2nd is advanced AI for color. Then May 9 is a feature film class. May 23, advanced color management for Adobe. Then we have a HDR masterclass on May 30th, and June 13, Mastering Aces Beyond Basics. June 20th, Look Design. July 5th, Beauty. And then July 11, Summer Look Academy, which takes us into August, and that's when we finish. So basically. And by the way, these are some of the, jobs that our students work. Probably some of you who is already on this live stream or have been doing this. So yeah, I mean, really, 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 I'm so happy to see, like, guys, you're doing this. I just met with a couple of people, when I was in LA last time, and when I heard, what amazing jobs they're doing, it's just so wonderful, so wonderful. Marcello, no. Okay, and then which courses are the best to get started as a beginner, and are recorded classes the same as live classes? So that's a very good question. So Usham, what I would do is I would go to fundamental courses, and I would pick, if you're more like a camera technical person, you want to do more like a technical grading, color management, then take the fundamentals of digital color processing, right? So they take that's a kind of a course that is going to teach you, like, really technically, kind of how things work. If you're a real beginner, but you're more interested in color grading, right? You say, no, I'm more a creative person, storyteller. I'm less interested in like matching cameras perfectly or whatever. I'm more like interested in how I can get better looks and how to tell better stories. Then take the course which is called Color Grading in Theory and Practice. When you finish that course, you'll be able to do any look you want, right? You'll be able to basically look at an image and feel and understand what needs to happen and why it needs to happen. This is really the best course, for a beginner. If I had that course, my God, I don't know where I'd be now. But listen, I had amazing teachers. I'm not complaining. I wouldn't be here now if I didn't have some of the best people in the industry teach me. And I wouldn't be so generous with my knowledge if I didn't get that knowledge in a very generous way from, generation that was there in front of me. And I don't want to say, oh, I didn't have a good training. I mean, when I was starting up, there was color grading was just an invention, right? It wasn't like even a method or a system, or there was only one place where you could maybe get official training, but there was no other way to learn but from another colorist. So I don't want to complain. I was there very early. Okay, so if we can't watch certain classes live during the dates, yes, of course, that's what we do, Jason. So what happens is like we stream live, and then after the course, maybe a few hours, we post the recording. And for you, it doesn't matter. You basically log into your course, and it says this is the live class. And then if live class has run at the place of the same live class, you have now the recording, and you just watch the recording. And you pause, do whatever, you follow, you do it, everything. Many students watch a live class and then go and rewatch it again, because I showed something or I answered something or something like that. So yeah, so that's a really the way how to do it, and you really want to have that flexibility, because I think being in a class is great, but you do want to have a flexibility to be able to rewatch and remind yourself. Like, I have people who ask me like 5 years, hey, Dado, like 2 years ago, I did a course with you. And where was it, this course that you taught us how to do this? I said, all right. So, this is really gold, as that we have all these recordings, that you can actually just go and rewatch. Yeah. Okay, so Gilbert says, hi, Dado. What happens with seminars like advanced camera matching, film emulation, texture, if any, or access them separately? Gilbert, we're going to put them online as well. Okay, we're going to put them online. We just didn't have time to do it for this launch, but we will publish them as archive on demand access anytime you want. Okay, so you will get all of those courses as well. Yes. And we'll have a little pass for them as well, because if you want to have more than one and something like that. So we just physically or timely we couldn't get them to be live now, but bear with us, next week they should be there. Correct. And I agree, they're fantastic. There is so many great stuff on those courses that are like it's something that you really need to have, right? And just because we did them 6 months ago or a year ago, it doesn't mean that they are not actual anymore. They're still the tricks are still the best, unless there is a course which I feel like, no, this is now obsolete, we don't work like this anymore, then I don't put it, right? But anything that I look through and I go like, no, this is very good, this is still the way how we would do it today, we're gonna put them as a part of your ability to access that footage as well. What about passing DaVinci Resolve grouping? Yes, we can't do it. Stuart, there was a really great way how we worked with DaVinci at the beginning. They were great. They were like, oh, Dado, here you go. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. And then at one moment, they were like, nah, we don't want to, we can't do this. We don't want to do this. We're not going to do this, right? Which is why we kind of turned more now to Adobe, and because Adobe is going like, you want to do it? Oh well, let's go and help you, like so basically, like we're kind of we're hoping that, but on the other side, listen, if at any time DaVinci decides for whatever reason to allow us to read the group information, we're going to implement it, right? But right now, nobody outside of DaVinci can read the group information. And there are, strategic decisions why they do this. Probably because they want you to use DaVinci more, not, maybe Adobe, or, I don't know, like every company's got their strategy, their way of how they're developing the product, how they're marketing the product, how they, making the company profitable. And those little decisions are a very important part of that. And I understand that, maybe like, for us feels like, oh, group would be nice, but maybe for them, they think like, well, maybe, this is going to give too much away of what you can do with our system to other software manufacturers, something like that. I'm not sure. In any case, we had like several of those interesting things, we wanted to be able to put our plugins as well on it, and never worked. So this is why, you'll see more of Adobe integration happen, because they have been really, really, positive about it. They really appreciate all the contribution that we are putting to Premiere, with our color engine. It seems to be, working well at the moment. Yeah. Great. Has Apple already killed Final Cut like it did with Color and Shake? Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know what's happening there. I really hope not. Such an amazing software, isn't it? Isn't it? But I have to tell you that I don't know. We've seen very little updates. We are super supporting it, but there isn't really anything more that we can do right now. But yeah, it will be interesting to understand. Is this now, like in what way, this develops? I could do crazy stuff if they are to kind of, let me manage Final Cut Pro a little bit. My God, stuff we could do with it. It's such a wonderful piece of code, actually. But for big organizations, like or this is always a problem, right? How do you prioritize what you do? So we'll see. Yeah, of course. Final Cut 7 is still a big player. No, Tim, it's not. It's like he was a big player. I agree. He was a big player. But like yeah, I think really like this is where DaVinci came in, and 7 was over. Thomas says tracklist editing and metadata keywords in FCPs. Amazing. Yeah. No. I mean, like, listen, I actually, like, no other software is as responsive as Final Cut. I mean, I have never seen anything like, be so quick and and there are so many like, potential, for things. But like you have to keep evolving. That's a real thing. You cannot just like say, oh, we made this software and like people are just going to use it. You have to continue evolving it and understanding what your users needs are, right? When they made Final Cut, we probably used to make some sort of documentary movies or some sort of stuff. Right today, we are mainly making like some Instagram stories, quick things, graphics, cuts, this, that, automatic subtitles, whatever. Right? You really are not connecting with your audience, Apple. That's what I would say. Right? Like in Final Cut, it's almost like as if people are not shooting on logarithmic cameras, like like cameras that shoot log. You kind of you open a log and you kind of don't know what to do with it, right? Anyway, so that's a kind of long story, but it's another story. Hey, Anastasia's there. Hello, good to see you. Will Color Up be able to detect cutscene cuts from a single file? Oh yeah. No, Stuart, you can do that already. So if you basically just go, I mean that we do the cuts in our system. We could do this. It's very easy to do that, by the way. We don't even have to invent that code. That code is available publicly. This is kind of it's not really difficult thing to do. You can do it very easy with stock kind of image recognition libraries. But we never did it because most of our users would do that in DaVinci and then pass it along. and that's why we never did it, right? And so we were like, well, why would I do something when other people are already like, like are doing it perfectly well, like, and so we never really had a user say, hey, we really can I take a long piece and recut it with you, but it wouldn't be a really big effort, to do that. That's very low hanging fruit, what I call, stuff like that is not really. I'm really right now concerned about, more important things is like, how we're going to do some semi-supervised, how you're going to be able to select and import a style that you want, and then we able to, make base grade based on that style. I mean, like, I really want to kind of, I really want to us to be completely automated on IDT. Like, I don't want ever you as a user to worry, what's my IDT? Never. That's going to be like something we're going to tell each other as a jokes. 1 year we're going to say, maybe even in a year time. Do you remember days when we had to go right mouse on the clip and, select the input profile? It's gonna disappear. I actually can't wait for that to happen. Yeah, no, Blackmagic don't spend money, guys. They're only like they buy companies that are, like about to go out of business. Okay. Luke says that's very exciting. You said there are hundreds of tasks when working on a feature that are tirelessly repetitive. Looking forward to a gimme. Yes, Luke, that's exactly what's going to happen, right? You will be able to be just busy with the good stuff, and like I have to tell you, like, I because I use my software a lot, because that's the way how I understand it and test it, when I kind of, find myself, like the other day I had to like sit on a grade that was on a Linux machine, so there was no Colab AI. I was like, man, if I could just send this one shot, like, you don't understand. I don't always send the whole sequence. Like when people, maybe because I do demos, always I say, oh, here is the whole sequence from DaVinci. I don't work with Color Lab like that. I actually sometimes take only one shot and I send that one shot and I send it back. And then I do all the kind of copy paste manually on the tunnel. I don't necessarily feel like, oh, I need to send everything and then everything comes back. I'm very, like a productive just by, sending a certain shot to Color Lab and sending it back and then using that node tree for everything else. Like, for example, I would just sometimes, just use Color Lab just to, put my node tree on everything, right? With the right IDT, ODT and everything. I would just do that. And I wouldn't even bother about the grading and matching and anything inside Color Lab AI. I don't do it. I was just, but like, it helps me with all the cameras that don't have IDT. It helps me with all the, like matching, and it helps me with a lot of stuff, right? And then I come to a shot and I go like, what could I do here? What could I do here? And I send it to Color Lab and I go like, let me try this. Oh my God, this is great. Look, oh my God. I send it back. And then I grade then the rest of the scene based on that particular node tree that I got back from Color Lab. So I really use it like that all the time. And I'm so used to doing it like this that when I don't have it, oh man. And then I, get a little frustrated trying to move my dials again, So yeah, so it grown on me like a little bit, that workflow that I can just kind of click and test and try and save and do another and click and test and try and save, and then you go like, oh, which one I like. I'm much more creative, and my clients like color grading that is, a little bit more, a little bit more exciting, when the looks change throughout the, grade as well. And, when you break the norm, and with Colab, it's very, very, useful sometimes to try different things very quickly and have those versions and so on. So it's really like, something that once you start, using it and you get used to it, you'll be like, oh my God, man, this is just heaven, right? So yeah. So When can we expect ACES linear EXR files given for VFX? Well, in next update. We have it already. We're basically on the last stages of. So by the way, I'm not sure if you noticed. When I asked ChatGPT, hey, can you convert from ACES to Alexa White Gamut? Well, that's the code that goes into DaVinci. Sorry, into Color AI. That's me actually. I was actually working, that time when I was making the video. I was finishing the linear part. So I needed the matrix. It's going to go because our internal color space is Alexa White Gamut, right? So I needed a matrix for that. So because of ChatGPT, you're going to get it faster. Yeah, exactly. Juan says, how do you set just one shot to color and not take all the timeline? But you can basically just, have a little timeline, which is just to go back and forth, just a new timeline. You copy that shot there and you send it and you just send it back. Exactly. And then you take that look, grab it as a still and copy paste it to anything else you want, or you just Command C, Command V, like you do it like that. Yeah. So, you have like a tool timeline, right? The timeline that you can just go and copy a little shot, just do it quickly, do a little work, bring it back, and then, use that grade for wherever you want. Yeah. When I'm have the whole timeline linked, then I can send just one clip. You can just right mouse click on a clip and you say, send only this clip, right? I don't necessarily, like what I do is I don't necessarily work like, always full timeline. I sometimes just send one shot. You can right mouse click on a shot and have a look, send to DaVinci only this shot. You can do that. Yeah, and it's much faster anyway, so I like to work like that. When can we expect Colab AI for M2 iPad, also NDI viewer you're talking about? So, okay, so the M2 and M2 iPad we're not gonna do. I have looked into DaVinci Resolve on iPad and it's useless. I'm sorry guys to say that, but I don't want to work like this. I don't think the interface is made for an iPad. I really I don't know, like it's very clunky. I'm 10 times slower and I don't really know. Why wouldn't I just open a laptop and take a mouse and do it? What's the advantage? I think it's a gimmick. It's a fact that we can run it, but do we really get better life by running a color grading software on an iPad? Absolutely not, right? Are you kidding me? This is just like, I feel like this, like touching some. I mean, this is insane. It's such a bad idea. But I see why people got excited about it, though. But practically, it's total waste of time. So the next thing we are going to do NDI, but you know what? Not before the version 3 is out. All our time and money is going now into getting version 3, the brand new code, Windows, everything out. And then, we're going to be able to free our development team from that task to start adding all these features, right? So, we're not until it's out. Correct. Oh, excellent. You see, Hira says you can learn it at the class. Thomas says, any thoughts of the state of HDR in terms of limitation of today's consumer display technology, all in auto dimming, real problem? Thomas, very good question. I actually kind of believe that the approach to overcome what we have today is just to be realistic to what we have. And I would say that what we have today is not 1,000 nits, but 600 nits. I would really I would really target what you're outputting to 600 nits. And if you do that, then a lot of that auto dimming and stuff like this becomes much less impactful than what you get on a reference monitor that can output full 1,000 nits. Okay, so 650. So, and I would also say that consumers today, I believe, they perceive HDR grading that is kind of around 600 mark much more pleasant then the grading that kind of increases even, skin brightness and peak highlights and everything, 2000 nits, right? So really, like, what I think we should just kind of do. Yes, we have a standard that's called PQ 1000, right? And theoretically, we are outputting 1000. We're not clipping anything on 600. What I'm not saying is don't change your ODT to be PQ 600. Keep your ODT on 1000. Stick with the standard, but make your grades not, go to that ceiling. Just be like gentle, and just make HDR like a more exciting, and that 600 kind of barrier is a great thing. And then, it doesn't matter if it's on a mobile phone, if it's on an iPad, if it's on dimmed OLED TV, if non-dimmed OLED TV, because they all can produce 600 nits. Nobody is less than that. Otherwise, they wouldn't have that HDR certification. So then when the screen's next generation comes out and then probably gradually we're going to start developing, our style of grading so that it actually can support this newer generations of screens, and they're just going to get better and better. Yeah. Feels like a big problem at the moment if it's darker scenes that are interpreted as static images. We need better algorithm in consumer displays. I see what happens. So you have a dark image and then it dims it. Oh my God, Thomas, terrible. Well, I haven't thought about it, yes, but I could totally imagine how that would happen, right? How that would happen. So we need to like tell directors, don't shoot too dark and make a lot of movement. Or we're going to be able to fix it with AI. Like, let's make more movement with AI, right? Maybe, yeah. Which course is the best to learn what you're describing going from DaVinci Resolve, Colab, and back? It's Colab AI Masterclass. It's a free class. Yeah, it's massive. It's big class, but that's your best thing. Just go for it and just do that. Yeah. Yeah. Will be some new technique in the HDR class? No, really. No. So Tim, we are really trying to standardize HDR as much as possible. We really want to people to as an industry to start working more unified. And we don't want to innovate beyond to how it's working, because we know it's working so well. So no, you won't necessarily get anything if you are to retake the HDR class. Everything is pretty much following the route that, how most, HDR delivery channels have told us it's a good way for them to work. They give us feedback. They tell us, hey, Dado, we worked in this job using this principle you're teaching. That works, that doesn't work. So we basically really, really, hear back from them. Because you have to understand, Tim, like, people who work for Netflix or Amazon or HBO, they take my classes as well. They do it themselves, and they basically, give us feedback. And, I think we're in a very good spot at the moment to what we teach right now. It's universally accepted as a very good way of working. Yeah. Did you take Firefly Adobe AI generator? Not yet. I'm on Stable Diffusion and Midjourney version 5 when I have time, and it's like I kind of, don't go to bed when I'm on that machine. I bought a Windows machine because I have to test the Color Lab, but also in the meantime, I'm kind of installed all the, Stable Diffusions. Exactly. A small seminar about monitor SDR, HDR calibration. We had it, Jar. We had it. We had a seminar about it. Actually, yeah. But you're right. Maybe we could do something. That's a good tip. Yeah. But I had a training course about it. But you're right. It wasn't a training course for online for everybody. But we have a course that we teach corporate customers, how to do it. But I'll see with how they call the portrait displays about it, because they're happy for me to consult companies on that. But I don't know whether they want me to make it very public, how this works. But we can definitely look into it. Yes, yes. OpenAI is coming to Colab AI. You're 100% right with that. And on that note, I'm going to finish this call. Thank you so much, guys, for being with me here today. I actually missed a little bit, of unstructured conversation with you, like I had right now. Thank you for wonderful, wonderful questions. And yeah, I mean, I hope I'm going to see you actually on this cinematic course next week. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a really good summary of film and understanding of film, and actually, I really hope it's going to help you, to understand really the look designer as well, like that. So yeah, and check your inbox. All of you who have studied with us, you'll get an email that is going to help you enroll in the new courses at the discounted rate. We want to support your progress. And thank you all for being an amazing crowd. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing you soon. Thanks again, guys. Have a lovely day. Thank you. Thank you. And bye bye.